All right, all right. Looks like we are live. How we're doing here? Yeah, man. We are live. Cool. Welcome, welcome. Hey, Jennifer, how's it going? You can hear me, right? Making sure audio check. Make sure you people can hear me. People can hear me. Hopefully. I don't know what's happening. Very tired today. Very, 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 very tired. Let's see. Okay, yes, you can hear me. All right. You are my number one fan. Look at that. You are you get the little crown thing on there. That's awesome. I don't know what that means. But you'll notice, Jennifer, you got your logo. My wife's a graphic designer. My wife Jennifer. That's her there in the chat. Um you see my logo that she created there for me. So that's pretty cool. So I stuck that into Chat GPT and said, "Hey, make me a cool background to go on the sides of my video and make it look cool." So anyway, I think it did a pretty good job. Like it's got smoke coming out of it, and it's got it's got it's got a lot of neat stuff. So yeah, it's good. It's good. Good. Let's see. We got a couple more people coming in. Awesome. Yeah, I think it looks pretty good. So, uh-oh, let's see. Warning, the stream. Hang on. Let's see what this says. Open Studio. What does it say? YouTube Creator Studio. It says something about the stream bitrate is lower than recommended bitrate. Okay, I think it's going to be all right. I think it's going to be okay. All right. Got something kind of cool to share with folks. This is kind of neat. But let me switch over to this. So, yeah, why am I tired today? Yeah, so leg training yesterday afternoon, kind of an earlier day. Usually we do 5 6. This time Rory and I did it 3, so that was kind of cool. But anyway, he shot some video on his phone and over at Texas Iron in Midlothian. If you haven't checked out, oh AJ, what's up, man? Thanks for joining. Thanks for joining. But yeah, if you need a gym and you're in the Arlington, Mansfield, Midlothian, Cedar Hill, Duncanville, Dallas, even Waxahachie, Ennis area ish, South DFW, I'll call it the new South DFW. I'm planting the flag. You know, Midlothian, where we are, is supposed to be the concrete capital of the world. Is the slogan. I'm renaming it today. We are making it. We are making it the new South DFW, the modern South DFW. It's where everybody cool is, and to show and just to prove how cool we are in Midlothian. Yesterday, I was driving back from the gym, half dead, and somebody was driving a Maserati. Let's see, what was this thing called? Let me look it up. Maserati. I think it's called a CP. No. Let's see. No, it's not that. It's not that. You got to spell you can tell I'm tired. Maserati MC20, I believe, is what it was called. Yeah, somebody was rocking one of these bad boys. Yeah. So yeah, that thing was pretty awesome. Yeah. So I think that's a about 230,000 car. So yeah, we're balling down here in Midlothian, man. Anyway, so yeah, Texas Iron. If you don't have a gym or you do have a gym, like I have 3 gym memberships, and I got my hardcore gym. That's DFW. That's Texas Iron DFW. Check them out at Texas Iron DFW up here. I will put the I'll put the link to their Facebook page here. And then yeah, maybe we could do a little Instagram too. Let's see. Man, I cannot type today. That's painful. And then let's see who's checking in. Jordan Hutchinson. Yeah, dude, I follow that guy. That guy's a beast. Let's see. Yeah, there's Texas Iron right here. So let me get their Instagram action going on in here too. I'm not very organized today. I'm kind of doing this on the fly. So yeah, if you need a gym and you're into hardcore gyms, a la Metroflex, you know, where you saw like Ronnie Coleman and Branch Warren train, that's the kind of gym that we roll. So if you're in your gym and you walk in and there's no equipment available because everybody's on their phone, not working out, just sitting on their phones, sitting on the equipment you need, you will not find that at Texas Iron. We get it done. So to show you how we get this done, so Rory shot our leg day last night. It was about an hour and 15-minute leg day. I think we did about 11 sets. So we did, let's see, we did, you know, we kind of work up. We do pyramiding up just to warm up because Rory and I are a little bit in the older age, the new young, as I'll call it. So I think we did 2 sets lying leg curl. Most of these sets, I'd say probably 70% of them are to failure. So we did 2 sets of leg curl, seated leg curl. We did 2 sets of safety bar squats, which I'll show you here in a minute. That was the first time I'd ever done those, and that was pretty cool. I kind of liked it. It was hard, but I liked it. Then we did 2 sets of very, very heavy leg press, and I'll show you that here in a minute. And then we did 2 sets of hip press, which is kind of like a hinging movement, it's on a hinge, a fulcrum. So it gets really heavy as you push out, and then lighter towards you come in. So the strength profile or the resistance profile is pretty cool. And then we did 2 sets of leg extensions to burn out, which you're looking here. And then we did what we always do to finish things off. Did some body weight squats or body weight lunges. Sorry, walking lunges. So yeah, let me play the video. This is pretty cool. So there's Rory killing it on the leg extension. And like, what's cool is like I was sitting there watching it. Watch his quad. Like see his quad firing on the way down. I don't know if you can see that in the stream, but there's me. I'm actually getting a little bit of vascularity here in my quads, which is it's pretty cool. Now this was kind of towards the end of the workout, so I was pretty strained. Yeah, so there's me doing the leg press, and you know, like here, I'll pause it right here. And some people are like, "Oh, you're only doing 3 plates of 45s on each side on the leg press, and you're struggling, man. Like that's not nothing." So I might remind you, this is a hardcore gym. Okay, so if you see, maybe it's a little bit hard to see, but these 2 plates look a little bit bigger than this plate, a little thicker. That's because these are 100-pound plates, okay? So if we count them up here, 100, 200, 300, 400, and then we put on a 45 on each side, so that's 490 pounds. And that wasn't even the top set. I believe he slapped on another 45 after that. Yeah, he did. Or no, was this the top set? I'll have to go back and look at my notes, but it was 490 pounds. It was very heavy. But anyway, I was dying. That was brutal. He had to help me with that last one. I was crushed. So there's the hip press. Like you don't see very many of these around, but this is the hammer strength hip press. I really like this. And you can load the weight. If you see like down here, you can load the weight down here and you can load it up here. And down here, that's where the business happens. That makes it very hard. So just a matter of physics, I guess it is. I guess maybe physics. The further away the weight is from the fulcrum, the heavier it is, right? So we load 2 45-pound plates on each side and then 1 45-pound plate up here. So that's 90, 180. That's 270 pounds, but 180 of it is on the bottom, 90 pounds at the top. So, and that's about as much as I can do for 12. And remember, this is like our third pressing exercise. So we're already like 45 minutes in at this point. It's pretty brutal. So there's me crushing that. There's Rory. Like, notice his cadence compared to my cadence. He's quite a bit stronger than I am. He is a beast. So yeah, if you look at look at my cades of him helping me out. I think that was my next to last rep, and then he got one force rep out of it for me. But yeah, if you looked at kind of my struggle and you kind of click over to him, he's just repping it out, man. Like he's damn strong. Anyway, so yeah, there's the safety bar squats. These are pretty cool. Like, so if you see, the bar is like, it's got these handles on it and it rests on your back here. So you can, basically you can see, yeah, you can see. So the weight actually is out in front of you, which is pretty cool because that forces you forward, and that's hard for me because I tend to lean forward. Well, I tend to lean very far back when I squat. I think it's just because I don't have very good ankle mobility, so knees over toes is a little tough for me. But that's what makes this kind of cool is like the bar is actually like curved at the end. You can see like the weight's lower. Like here's the bar up here, and then here's the pegs that the weights go on. It's like slightly under, so it's out in front of you. So it forces the resistance profile towards the front. And the reason I liked this so much is because usually when I do, and you can kind of see in my squat pattern here. Now, this was my second set. I did, I think, 135 pounds. I did 135 pounds for 12 the time before that, or the set before that. So this was 175 pounds for, I think I got 8 on that one. I think I got 8 reps on this one right here. But you can see that was early, and I think he probably edited out the end of it because I almost fell forward. It was pretty brutal. But the reason I liked these was because usually on back squats with a regular squat bar, I tend to lean back far, so I get a lot of glute and hamstring, like tons of glute and hamstring, and I'm usually just rocked by that. But this was cool because I felt it way more in my quads, and like I think I'm getting better. Yeah, you can really see. It's kind of hard to pause it right there. I'm getting really good knee over toe there, and I would say that that's probably better knee over toe than I normally get. I'm also kind of excited about the fact that you can kind of see my upper back development there. That's kind of neat. But and anyway, and then I do these double rep lunges here. These are cool because I kind of like doing them this way. It just increases kind of time over tension, and you don't have to walk as far, you know. So you kind of get more time under tension on your quad. Like I'm trying to really do knee over toe here and stay upright so that I get a lot more quad than hamstring, because I have a dedicated hamstring day. And I'm rocking my weightlifting shoes from Gasp there, my squat shoes, which are pretty cool. But and I take the knee wraps off for this one just so I can kind of feel a little bit better. But anyway, brutal leg day. That was yesterday, but it was good. But yeah, he's a great workout partner. Really enjoyed working out with him. He's a good dude, and I look forward to many additional workouts with him for sure. So yeah, so that was good. And considering that I'm on lower calories, like I'm averaging about 800 to 1,000 calorie deficit a day, and I've been doing that for I'm going into 5 weeks now. Yeah, I'm in my 5th week of that. So it's getting a little tougher, obviously. Sleep started to get kind of jacked up yesterday. So I did feed up yesterday. It was pretty nice. Like I think I ate like 400 grams of carbs. Let's see what my macros were yesterday. Sorry, I'm not sharing my phone today. I didn't have it set up ahead of time, but let's see what my macros were yesterday. So like on a typical low day, it gets a little brutal. Like right now, on my low days, I'm about 2,400 calories. So that's 250 grams of protein, 60-ish grams of fat, and about 190, 170 grams of carbs. But most of those carbs are from sorry, somebody's asking me if I'm going live. I am live. But most of those carbs are from fiber, so they're not digestible, so you don't actually get the you don't actually get the um, you don't get the carbs into muscle glycogen, so it's a little more brutal. But anyway, let me switch back here. Yeah, so that was leg day yesterday. So yeah, so oh, I didn't finish my thought. Got distracted by the text. Um, so yeah, so yesterday 2,400 calories, 250 grams of protein, 60-ish grams of fat, 196 grams of carbs. That was the same the next day. Actually, a little more carbs the next day because my sleep got blown up after I did that. Um, Yesterday though was a good day. So there was like 3 days where I ate sub 2,500 calories, which is pretty hard. And I'm averaging 12,000 steps a day right now. No extra cardio at this point. Don't really need it. Weight's moving, so weight's moving down, so don't really need extra cardio. Um, but yesterday was a good day. I my sleep was really bad. Like I woke up like 3 times. I slept like 5 hours and woke up at 3 and couldn't go back to sleep. So that's when I know like that should not start happening in the middle of your diet like that. If you're 4 or 5 weeks in and you're already having sleep disruption, you're pushing too hard. That should be kind of towards the end of the cut. But yesterday was good. I ate 3,100 calories, 240 grams of protein, 40 grams of fat. So I keep fats low when I push 440 grams of carbs. And that was net carbs of, let's see, net carbs yesterday. Yeah, it was 419 grams of net carbs. So that was a good freaking day. And what's crazy is like my body was hungry for it because I'd eat like 100 grams of carbs in one meal, and I would clear it. Hey, mom, I would clear it. My body would basically clear those carbs, and my glucose, you'd see it. My blood glucose would go up to like 130. About 30 minutes after I ate, and about an hour later, it was already down in the 80s again. So like my body was just crushing through that food. So that's a good sign. Like it means I was primed for it. I needed it. So that was my first. So that's like one kind of diet hack you can do. But you should save it whenever you're suffering, right? Like or when you're getting signs of high fatigue. So what I try to do is like on the days that I don't train, I try to push calories as low as I can without completely dying. Now that could be tricky, like on day today, like I won't be training today. So normally I would push my calories pretty low today, like 2,400 calories, but I'm not going to do that today. And that's because yesterday was a pretty intense leg day. I was having signs of diet fatigue yesterday. So I'm going to use today as kind of a moderate day. So probably 2,500 calories, 2,600 calories with maybe 250 grams of carbs, try to heal myself from the damage I did yesterday. But yeah, like if you're 4 weeks into your diet or you're going into your diet and, it's normal to feel like a little bit of fog and a little bit of like fatigue. That's normal. That's called you're dieting. So you have to be mentally tough to kind of get through that. But whenever you start having issues like sleep, like you start waking up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and you can't go back to sleep, that's a sign that that's something you might be pushing a little too hard. The other sign I started having was, hey, Rach. The other sign I was having was last leg day, so a week ago Friday, my hamstrings were sore until Thursday of this week, 2 days ago. So they were sore for almost 6 days, or basically 6 days. So if you have muscle soreness that's lasting 6 days, it's one or two things, or maybe both. And I think it was both, but it's under eating, under recovering, and then also over too much volume. And that was true. Like the leg day we did, I think last Friday, I'd have to look here. Oops, sorry. Didn't mean to hit the mic there. And this is why I record everything, is because the other thing you get when you get into this diet brain area, dieting, your brain stops working. Like like your memory gets a little hosed. You're just it's not as sharp. Yeah, we did 14 sets. last week, which is just, it's too much for as low as my food is. It's just too much. We did 3 sets of seated leg curl. We did 3 sets of the Cybex squat press, which I did 605 pounds for 8. Actually, I did 515 pounds for 14. That was a volume personal record there. Then I did 605 pounds for 8. That was brutal. Then I did a Smith squat, and I did 235 pounds for 4 reps, which that was too heavy. I should not have done that. I did 3 sets of hip press and then 2 sets of leg extension, and I was cooked. So what's funny is though, I've been having problems with pumps, right? So like when you get a pump, like your muscles fill up with blood and glycogen, and you feel bigger and you look bigger. I've stopped getting those, and so that's like another telltale sign that either your hydration is wrong or off, like you're not drinking enough water, or your electrolyte balance is off, or you're fatigued. So that leg day last week and even yesterday, like I didn't really feel like my legs were really tired. They weren't like pumped and kind of full. So I was like, I guess I didn't really push it very hard. But I guess it was because like I couldn't get a pump. But I did notice like I had there towards like the last leg extension set, like I could tell I had more gas in the tank in terms of like muscle strength or muscle stamina, but I couldn't like do the rep. And that's usually a sign that I've done too much. It's basically my nervous system is like, hey man, like I got nothing left, bro. Like I don't know what you're trying to do to me here. And I don't, so I kind of felt like I gave up a little. And I think Rory noticed that I gave up a little in that last set of leg extensions last week. And it wasn't because I didn't want to do it. It was basically because I couldn't move the weight. Like, yeah, it was brutal. Like my grit was there. My soul was there, and rage and all that stuff was trying to get it going, but I just couldn't get it going. So anyway, yeah. So if you're dieting and you start to see like that sleep disruption thing is probably the number one thing I look for. So if my sleep starts to get affected, I need to pull back. Now some people are like, well, losing sleep's just part of it. It absolutely is, but you have to know when to dig like deep and when to take your foot off the accelerator a little bit and recover. And I'm halfway through the diet, right? So I'm going like 8 to 9 weeks is what I'm estimating. 4 to 5 weeks in, I can't have another 4 weeks straight of sleep disruption. That's not sustainable. Why? Because sleep is when we recover, right? So if I can't recover, I can't train. If I can't train, I can't maintain the stimulus to my muscle to keep muscle on while I'm losing weight. So basically my body's like, well, don't need these muscles. They're not really doing much. And then they start to catabolize and then you lose muscle. So, so sleep is one of those things to where like, yeah, in the end, like when you get real close to your goal, like maybe you're a pound away from it or something, you can maybe push through it and get it. But I've made that mistake before too. Like in my early in my weight loss journey, when I could not get past 200 pounds, I couldn't get below 200 pounds. And it was around Christmas time. So, stress is just kind of high and I wasn't sleeping very well. And so I'm like, man, I just can't I was like 200 flat. I just could not get into the 190s. And so I pushed harder. I was like, well, screw it. I'm going to do more. Like if I'm not losing weight, I'm not doing enough. So I upped my cardio. I cut my calories even lower and the weight started creeping upward. And I'm like, what the hell? Like what, this makes no sense. And so I finally had to learn, like the harder you push when you're in fatigue, the more your stress hormones go up, like cortisol. And the more that goes up, the more water you retain. So all the water I'm drinking and everything I'm not excreting it, I'm holding it. And so and sure enough, like I finally just died. Like I was just so tired and I took a couple days off and then I lost 3 pounds in one night. And it was just all that fatigue and all that water just washed out of me. And they call that the whoosh effect. to where like your weight stays the same and you feel like you're not making progress, and then you maybe notice that you may not notice, but you sweat a little more, or maybe you pee a little bit more that day, then you're like, oh, that's weird. Or you wake up a bunch in the night and you're peeing all the time, like you pee 3 or 4 times. Usually I can tell like the next morning when I'm going to weigh in light, because I'm peeing constantly all night and all day. And I'm like, okay, I'm not drinking any more water, and I'm going to the bathroom a lot. So that tells me, yeah, I'm about to have a low day. And sure enough, yeah, it came in low. So, and that happened the other day. Like I dropped like 3 pounds in one night. It was brutal. So anyway, so yeah, so right now I weighed in at 175 pounds this morning. So that's the other kind of mind F, if you will, that happens with dieting, is when you get into that fatigue state and you need to recover. So you up your food a little bit and maybe back off a little bit on your steps or your cardio. The scale's going to go up for a minute, and that's because you're refilling water in your glycogen in your muscles, and you're refueling. So you're holding, and there's more in your digestive tract, all that stuff. And in fact, if you're pushing real hard, you're probably constipated. Like that, not to be gross, but that happens too. Like basically, guys will talk about at the end of their diet, like for contest prep, they basically are shitting sand. Like it's like there's nothing like to excrete, because you're using it all. So it's really brutal. So yeah, if you start to like notice that you're not having bowel movements, that's another key indicator that, yeah, you might be in trouble. You might be pushing too hard. Could also be that you're not taking in enough fats. That happens, not enough fiber. Could be that too. But a lot of times it's the fatigue. But anyway, so yeah, so what'll happen is as you eat up to kind of recover, the weight, the scale will go up. So yesterday, I think I was, let's take a look. So yesterday, I've got this Garmin scale. I think I've talked about it before, where it kind of weighs me every day. So like theoretically, like if the scale screws with you, and it used to screw with me, especially when I was real focused on it at the beginning, like it was all I could think about was making the scale go down, make the scale go down, make the scale go down. And I just couldn't, couldn't get it going. If you're like that and you scale it and you focus too much on weight, like get a scale that automatically tracks it over time. And then that way you don't have to look at it every day. It's just recording it. And you just don't look at it. Just put a piece of tape over it. But anyway, yeah. So on May 27th, so that was 3 days ago, I was 171.8 pounds. So that was my new low. Then the next day I was 174 pounds. And that's when I think the fatigue started to kind of hit a little bit, because that's a pretty big weight spike. That's 2.2 pounds. And then yesterday, I was 173.6 pounds. And then today I was 175 pounds. So I'm up a pound, 1.4 pounds. And so if you're only chasing the scale, then your first thought right there is, oh crap, I just gained a pound and a half of fat. Like I ate up yesterday to recover, and now I screwed up because I'm up a pound, 1.7 pounds. No, it's just your body has basically absorbed the nutrients. You've got some more stuff in your digestive tract. Just chill. Like just relax, because the more you worry about that, the more stress that you put on yourself. Guess what? Cortisol goes up and your weight goes up. It's against your goals. So like, just keep chill, take a day off of the gym, just chill out. I'm going to turn the fan on. It's kind of hot. So yeah, just chill, take a day, just kind of chill. And then another interesting thing to watch is how fast you go back to quote baseline weight. So for example, like I'll eat, 2,500 calories probably today, 2,600, probably 2,600. And I bet you tomorrow I'll weigh in lighter. And the reason why is because, well, maybe not tomorrow, but maybe the next day I'll weigh in lighter. But it's also interesting to see how fast it's a good data point to note how fast the weight goes from your higher weight when you eat up, your feet up, and then when you drop back down. How many days does that take? Because that will also tell you like how stressed you are. Because the longer it holds on to it, like that should tell you like, okay, maybe I'm still pushing a little bit too much. Yeah, see, somebody mentioned broccoli. You do have to be careful with broccoli. It is good for you for like roughage and fill out and stuff, but it can cause I think it's what's called a FODMAP food, so it can cause like intestinal gas, like if you're susceptible to that. So you do have to watch like asparagus and broccoli especially. Eat too much of that and it'll like gas you up pretty bad. So I like celery. It's very water based, and it's also kind of filling. Like I can eat a lot of it. It's very low calorie, very low carb. So on the days I don't get to have carbs in my meals, which there are days like that. Although I do take in carbs in the morning, I do that because I find my brain doesn't work unless I do that, which is opposite of what people normally say. They say, well, if you take in carbs in the morning, like you won't be able to think. That's usually the rebound effect of your glucose spiking, and it makes you tired. I don't get that because the glycemic index of the or basically the rate of that it increases your glucose, that type of food that I eat is very low glycemic index. So like rolled oats, I eat that in the morning as my carb source. So it's very sustained glucose release all through the morning. And then I eat at 7 and then I'll eat at 12. So I go about 5 hours before I eat my next meal. And then some people are like, "Oh, that's not good. You should be eating more." But I load up the protein first thing in the morning. That's something Jay Cutler talked about. I believe in it too. The most protein you get should be the first meal of the day. Um, yeah, yeah. So yeah, mom, if you're taking in carbs first thing in the morning, like let's say you eat a piece of bread or like a bagel or something like that first thing in the morning, that can make you tired. Yeah. So try to switch to something that's a little bit lower glycemic index, like oats. That will help you. Yeah, for sure. Or add a little bit of fat and fiber. Like I eat whole eggs, and then I also add like flaxseed into my stuff. I add pure cocoa oil, like dark cocoa, like unprocessed, non-alkali processed cocoa. That's good fiber. Kind of slows down the digestion, slows down the processing of those carbs, so you don't get that huge glucose spike. Because that's the thing that makes you tired is like if you eat a piece of candy or you eat a crap load of candy and then your glucose spikes up real high, you'll notice when it starts coming down, it's like you don't want to pass out. So that's also why I talk about it, but I got it from Stan Efferding. Walking that 10-minute walk after you eat is a good idea just to get things kind of going. Hard-boiled eggs. Yeah, I wish I could eat eggs like that. I like scrambled or medium over eggs. Is that right? Is that what they're called? I don't remember. I always scramble them because I put a lot of egg whites in. So like this morning I had 6 ounces of egg whites. I had 2 whole eggs, and so I mix all together and then create just make it. And you can make an omelet out of that too. So anyway, so that's just a little, kind of the way I've learned um, how like weight dynamics works when it comes to water and stress and how to adjust your calories. So if you want to kind of learn about the method I typically use, I use a little modified method, but I use something called carb cycling. So when I train, my carbs are higher. When I train legs, my carbs are even higher. On days I don't train, my carbs, I try to get them as low as I can go. And usually anything below 100, I'm usually pretty brutalized. Like that's really hard for me to do. Um, but there are days like towards the end of the cut, I'm sure I'll probably be in the 50 to 70 grams of carbs, and it's probably all fiber. That's when it starts to hurt. But I'm not there yet. I got about 4 more weeks of that. Um, let's see what else. I need to upload my images and see what ChatGPT says. So ChatGPT said that I am. It said that I was about 13% body fat. Let's do the test real quick and let's see what it thinks here. So I won't share my screen because I'm gonna upload some half naked pictures of myself to ChatGPT, which if you're not comfortable with that, don't do it. I don't give a crap. I'm about to go compete next year where I'll be basically in my underwear in front of like all these people online and everything else forever. So what are you gonna do? Um, but let's see. Go into here, pictures. Yeah, I forgot they Samsung. I'm a Samsung guy. I have a Samsung phone, so they stopped the gallery syncing. So now like my all my pictures in a different place. Sorry, I have to do this on my phone. So basically, this is kind of a good thing to do. Like you can go in, you can prompt ChatGPT and say, "Hey, you're my fitness coach." Like you basically give it the persona, and then you tell it, here are some photos of me, and you basically take a front, side, back shot, and then just say, rate my body fat. I'll say that. Okay, let's see what it says. Body weight. It says I'm between 11.5% and 13% body fat. It thinks I'm about 12%. So, yeah, I'd say I'm probably pretty close to that. Pretty close to 12%. My back is starting to kind of come in a little bit. I can kind of see from these pictures here. I'll spare you my nakedness. But my quad cuts are coming in, which is pretty sick looking. Here, let's see if I can maybe like, there we go. Yeah, there we go. Maybe I could just do that. So yeah, my quad cuts. Can you see that? Yeah, quad cuts are coming in. Some basic veinage, stuff like that. So that's the censored leg version of my shot today. Yeah, there you go. That's the yeah, and then some. Maybe I can try to. And then, yeah, some back coming in, like you can start to see down in the lower, those bumps are my erectors. And then you can kind of start to see some cuts into my shoulders and my scapula, mid back. My mid back is like really developed. I never knew, I don't really know how I did that. But it's, it's getting pretty good. And then, see if I can't zoom in that picture anymore to censor it. But anyway, so that's just a couple shots like that. That's about as much as I kind of want to show. But I don't live stream, that is. But anyway, yeah, it's not, I don't know why I'm shy about it. Like I said, I'm going to be in my freaking underwear in a year. So, which, speaking of that, like, let's take a look at the countdown. Let's look here. Sorry, this thing's kind of blocking my view here. Was it this page? I think it's this page. This page? Yeah, it's this page. Okay, so yeah, if we take a look, let's see where we're at. So I am assuming that I participate in the Ronnie Coleman Classic 2027. I haven't decided, but I am 49 weeks out, 6 days. So yeah. So we are in the thick of it. And then in the last 30 days, I've got a net rate change of 1.3 pounds. So things are moving fine. Like 7-day average, 9,600 steps. I think that's actually wrong. I've been getting way more than that. So I'll have to check my, let's see. Let me check my check-ins and see my steps here. Oh, whoops. That's why. I put in 13 steps here. That's not right. It's supposed to be 13,000 steps. That's what threw it. Yeah, so you can kind of see my step count for the last few days: 13,000, 10,000, 11,000, 12,000, and then yesterday was 13,000. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, we're working hard. Let's see, and then here's my weight graph. So yeah, so you can kind of see. I'll just do 30 days so we can zoom in a bit here. So you see this little bump here. And it's because I'm feeding up. But if I hadn't fed up yesterday, you see the trend, right? Like it's slowly declining. And that's why it's important to trend your weight over time, is because it can really screw you up. I stopped tracking lean mass because I don't think it's accurate. But, how accurate ChatGPT is? It takes its best guess, like when it comes to body fat. It's better than I am, I think, but like lighting matters. Whether you're flexing or not matters. Like, for example, I can take two pictures, like one where I'm just standing there and then one where I'm flexing my abs. And the one that I'm flexing my abs in, it'll say I'm leaner in that one. Because the cuts between my abs show a little bit more when I crunch down on them. So you can kind of cheat a little bit. but the best thing I try to do is like I just take the pictures in the same place under the same lighting, with the same phone, same angle, as many times as I can, and that gives me a pretty good before and after photo. Like I can look at my photos from beginning of the cut and now, and it's pretty staggering how lean I'm getting. I mean, my love handles are basically down to the last bit of fat. Yeah, actually, they've got pretty, probably got half an inch of pinchable fat on them, I'd say. So nothing, like I said, you just got to be patient. Just stay the course, try not to deviate. All right, other questions? All protein for breakfast is for brain food. No, I believe, I think that like, I guess I don't know if there's any studies in this or anything, but um, the way I kind of think about it is like when you go to bed, you go to bed at like 10 o'clock and you're going to wake up at 6, right? So that's 8 hours where basically you fasted, right? Maybe you ate right before bed. Probably not, though. Probably an hour before. So that's 9 hours of fasting, right? And your body slows down so that, it doesn't like eat itself while you're sleeping. Um, but when you wake up, I just believe that, like, I listened to a YouTube video one time from a guy. Let me see if I can maybe find it. I'll share it with y'all. This is, if you want to know like about protein, I think is it Peter Attia does it? I think Peter Attia and Don Layman. Yeah. Let me get this. Let me share this out. Yeah. So this one. Oops, sorry. Hopefully that doesn't end the world. Yeah, this one right here. This. You can see it was 3 years ago. I want to say, is that? Oh, he did. Did he do a new one with him? Let's see. No, it's the same one. I thought it was a lot longer than that. Maybe it was only. Was it only? No. It was 2 hours. Okay, that's what I remember. So this one, I'm gonna save that actually to my playlist because that one, man, I just think this one right here. So if you don't know who Don Layman is, he is basically the guy. He's the guy that basically figured out that leucine is the amino acid that is responsible for muscle protein synthesis. So basically, he figured out that there's a threshold of leucine that you have to get in order for your body to trigger using these essential amino acids for the building and repair of tissue. So anyway, in that interview, if I'm remembering right, it's been a couple years since I listened to it. This is one of the first interviews that I listened to when it came to protein, because I had the same question as everybody else, right? Like I had the question of how much protein should I be eating, right? Like is it one, gram per pound? Is it a 0.8 grams per pound? Is it 1.2 grams per pound? Is it lean body weight versus total body weight is what you're supposed to count? Like it's just, there's so much information out there. And so I was searching for the answer, right? So I came across that podcast, and that's the guy. Like his lab did probably more protein, analysis of like how the body uses protein than anybody else. Lane Norton, if you know who that is, he's an influencer, but he's big into protein and stuff. He's very entertaining, very dynamic, pretty funny. But he's a student of Don Layman. He went through his master's, or maybe it was his PhD. I think it was his PhD was through Don Layman's lab. There's a couple other, like Gabriella, I don't remember her name. She went through there too. But basically, yeah, they did a bunch of studies. And one of the things he talked about was like the minimum amount of protein to get to kick off muscle protein synthesis. And he was talking about like 35, I think it was like 35 or 40 grams in one meal. And at the time, I was eating like 20 grams of protein like 6 times a day to get my total protein goal up. sometimes even 7 or 8 times a day. Because I was thinking, oh, well, the more I just keep protein going in, like it's just going to use it, you know. But he kind of changed my perception of that, because he's like, no, you know, there has to be a certain threshold of protein you get before your body's like, okay, this is enough to do something with and kick off that muscle protein synthesis. So I think he was talking about like 35 to 40 grams, something like that. Don't quote me. Go watch the video. It's totally worth the 2 hours of your time. And so that kind of that clicked with me. The other thing that clicked with me is during that, the other thing you always hear is, well, if you eat, you know, 80 grams of protein in one meal, your body can't use that. You just won't use it. And that's not true either. Actually, he found in his lab that somebody ate like, I think 100 grams of protein or something in one meal, and they saw muscle protein synthesis last way longer than it did if you ate a smaller portion. So it's like, basically his theory is that if you eat large bulbous amounts of protein, the longer your body goes through muscle protein synthesis. So I kind of put those two things together, and I was like, well, if that's the case, you know, first thing in the morning, I want a bulbous amount of protein, maybe the most protein I'm going to get in a day, so that muscle protein synthesis can go throughout the day. And even if maybe at one of the meals I don't get enough, like it's still going, you know? So that was kind of my thought process. So I try to shoot for anywhere between 50 to 60 grams of protein first thing in the morning. And it's easier to get than you think. Like, so what I do is I take like 2 eggs. Well, here, I'll pull up my food for this morning, because this morning was a pretty decent amount of food, because I knew I was gonna be able to eat a little more today. So I ate 2 eggs. That's 12 grams of protein. I ate 25 grams of a whey isolate. That's 20 grams of protein. So that's 32 right there. And these are complete proteins. So that's the other thing you kind of have to think about, is because there's like, it says I got like 1 gram of protein from the almond milk I drank. I don't count that. And then you get 5 grams of protein from my 40 grams of actually I didn't eat 40. I think I ate 30 grams today. Ooh, I'm overcharging myself calories there, but it's better to be over than under. And then I ate 12 or 4. Let's see. No, I ate 6 ounces of. I'm changing yesterday's numbers. Yeah, I do this sometimes. I kind of screw the pooch. Let me change these back. Sometimes I'm on yesterday's calories and I start to change stuff, and I'm like, wait, no. Okay, yeah, okay, so this is right. So I'm on the right day now. So I ate 25 grams of whey isolate. That was 18 grams of protein. I ate 6 ounces of egg whites. That's 19 grams of protein. So that's, 37 right there, 37 grams. And then I ate 2 eggs. That's 12 grams of protein. So that's 49 grams of protein. So this morning I ate 49 grams of protein as my first meal. And then I usually try to hit 35 grams in each meal after that. The only exception is my pre-workout meal. I do lower the protein a little bit because I'm upping carbs. And there's some people that talk about this. I haven't actually read the research or anything, but they say that carbs are protein sparing, meaning if you up your carbs, like you can actually you don't have to have as much protein. So when I up my carbs before my workout to try to fuel my workout, so I bring down the protein a little bit. And then I also take in an essential amino acid drink while I'm training, because that's when your body is the most catabolic, when you're basically killing yourself, right? So anyway, so like yesterday, total protein grammage that I got yesterday was 242 grams. But if I click on that and I look, that's total protein from complete sources. If I do the math real quick, that's 100. So like it says I got 20 grams from protein from rice, because I ate a lot of rice yesterday. I think I ate uncooked total weight 310 grams, which is a lot. So I don't count that. So that doesn't count. So that's 100. That's 102-ish. Yeah, 102 plus 20, 122, 142, 160, 172, 184, 194. So I ate about 194 grams of protein yesterday. So I'm 174 pounds. And I do believe, this is just my own belief, is that I'm older. So I believe that I need more protein than like a 20-year-old would need. So I eat a little bit over 1 gram of complete proteins per pound of total body weight. So I'm 174 pounds. I try to eat anywhere between 190 to 200 grams of protein a day, of total protein. So that's what I do. That's a good question. Importance of cortisol. Yeah. So cortisol, it's not, everybody's like, oh, cortisol is the devil. Like, you know, I got to avoid cortisol. No, cortisol is a good thing. Like, it's actually a stress hormone, right? It triggers whenever we're under like fight or flight or sympathetic tone. So basically, it's a good hormone to have because it drives like energy and things like that. I think it's also like it's either a byproduct or a precursor to epinephrine, which is a kind of like an upper, right, for your body. It's adrenaline. So it's a good thing to have, but the problem is that it is catabolic, right? Meaning that you're more susceptible to breaking down protein and muscles in your body for energy when you have high cortisol. It also means that you're going to be holding more water, so you're more watery looking. And for a bodybuilder, that's all badness, right? Losing muscle or holding water is all bad because you can't see muscles on a body if you have a layer of water between them. That's why a lot of guys before their show will crush their estradiol down to 0 and lose all their water, take a bunch of diuretics, although that's not as common anymore, but some people do still have to do that. They just hold a lot of water. And then they'll also take other substances to clear out the water. So that's why so too much cortisol can be bad. It affects recovery. Like you want to clear cortisol by chilling out, taking it easy, not being kind of on the verge, like too much caffeine or other stimulants, etc., putting you in that sympathetic drive state where you're just like fight or flight all the time. That drives your cortisol up. You need a balance, right, to where you go into parasympathetic, where you chill, right? That's a rest and digest is what they call it. So you're relaxed, you're calm, and you're just kind of chilling out, and your body lowers cortisol, gets water out, and clears out. So cortisol is an important thing, but a sustained high amount of cortisol is a bad thing. So I'm sure there's a lot of other studies out there that'll talk about all the other bad stuff that it can do if your cortisol is too high. I tend to probably run pretty high cortisol all the time because I'm a high anxiety, high stress guy, and high caffeine these days because I'm trying to kill my appetite because I'm hungry all the time. So yeah. Anyway. Let's see, cortisol. Talked about that. So much detail or so much data. Yeah, I track a lot of data. Ground turkey's good. I wish I could eat that. I can't. Let's see. No pork. Yeah. Saturated fats, like I do try to stay a little bit away from saturated fats. So I eat probably 1 serving of red meat a day. Not every day. Like when I push my carbs high, I usually drive my fat down, which means I don't eat red meat that day. Because red meat just typically will have more fat in it. But you want to get lean cuts of meat. Like you want to get top sirloin, London broil is a cut that they talk about. It's a sirloin. Anything like that you can eat. 97.3 ground beef is really good. Those they're not as fun, right? Like I like a good ribeye or I like a good T-bone or something like that. But they have a ton of saturated fat. Saturated fat is not very good for you. So trying to stay away from that as much as you can. And so, yeah, pork, fattier cuts of beef, that kind of stuff is pretty high in saturated fat. You gotta kind of watch that. Yeah, so I usually eat a lot of chicken. I don't like fish, which sucks because like that takes off a lot of things that I could be eating that would be good for me, like omega-3s, like amino acid, like essential amino acids, and what do you call that? Good fats. Kind of lose out on that, but I pound a lot of fish oil. I think about 4 grams of fish oil a day. Is it 4 milligrams? I think it's 4 grams. I can't remember. It's a lot. 4 to 6 is kind of what I heard the goal should be. Keep that HDL up. But yeah, Okay, so we've been going, man, about 53 minutes. Wow, I'm chatty today, even though I'm kind of tired. Doing pretty good. Let's see. Yeah, light dinner aids digestion and sleep. Yeah, for sure. My go-to meal before I eat, like I will say, like that's one thing I've learned about me is that if I don't have a meal about an hour before I go to sleep, it will lead to early waking, and I will be starving. Like so, I'll wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'll want to eat the pantry. So a little trick I use, I eat Greek non-fat Greek yogurt. So basically zero fat Greek yogurt with very little carbs. Like it's just plain yogurt. And people are like, "How can you eat that?" There's a because it's real tart and sour sometimes, but there's one called like Greek God yogurt. Kroger has it. I think HEB has it too, but it's basically no fat Greek yogurt plain. And what you can do though is you can add stuff to it. So I have a casein protein that I get from TrueNutrition.com. It's a casein instead of a whey protein, so it actually breaks down a little slower. So it's a really great thing to eat. If you want a slower digesting protein, that's why I eat it at night. So I'll mix some of that in, and it's cookie butter flavor, so it tastes like a Biscoff cracker or cookie or biscuit, as they call it in the UK. And I'll put 20 grams of that. So it's 350 grams of the yogurt, and then I'll put in 20 grams of the casein cookie butter um, protein powder, and then I will add a little bit of cinnamon to help with some of the glucose clearing, because cinnamon's good for breaking down glucose. Um, let's see, what else do I put in that? A little bit of salt. A little cheat you can do is if you eat a little bit of salt at night before you go to bed, that might help some of the waking to pee thing, especially if you're a dude. You know what I'm talking about. So a little bit of salt, not too much. I used to put cocoa powder in there as well, and it was really good. I really liked it, but I started to notice. I think there's. Let's see. I think there might be caffeine in cocoa powder. Is there caffeine in dark unprocessed cocoa powder? I think there is. Yes, dark unprocessed natural cocoa powder does contain caffeine, much smaller than coffee or tea. So what does it think? Oh, yeah, 12 to 26 milligrams per teaspoon or per tablespoon per 8 grams. And I would add about 5 grams. So I was probably getting, anywhere between 10 and 20 milligrams of caffeine. So yeah, I'd say that was probably a pretty good theory. So what I would notice is if I put the cocoa powder inside the protein or inside the yogurt to kind of give it a chocolatey taste, it was really good. But I'd noticed like after I'd eat it about 30 minutes in, I'm like, I'm not tired anymore. And that's weird for me. Like usually I get pretty drowsy at night. So I stopped doing that. I only do cocoa in the morning now. But if you can try it and see, like put 5 grams in and just kind of see, make sure you weigh it, right? And just use like the best kind of cocoa powder to get is Hershey's in that tin can thing. It's totally unprocessed. It's cheap, fairly cheap. Nothing's really cheap these days, but it's pretty cheap. And it's really good. You can't eat it by itself. Like it will jack you in the face. It's kind of bitter. But if you add it into the mix, it's usually pretty good. And then I add about 100 grams of blueberries in there, and that for something like that, that is let's see. So that meal's 450. Oh well, okay. Let me look at the night before last because that was. Oh, and then I put 10 grams of almond butter in there. So I get the Kirkland almond butter from Costco. It's really good. And because I do believe it's very important to get fats at night too. A lot of people are like, ooh, fat before bed is going to make you fat. Like, no, you want your digestion not to be like turbocharged and blood going to it and it breaking down a huge meal and stuff before, while you're trying to sleep, you won't sleep well. So that's 387. So for 340, well, this is how much I ate the night before last. 344 grams of that non-fat Greek yogurt by Greek Gods. 23 grams of the casein cookie butter, which I accidentally put in a little extra, and once it's on there, you can't really take it off. 10 grams of almond butter, you need to weigh that, okay? And the way I weigh it is through reverse weighing. So I basically I take the lid off the almond butter jar, I put it on the scale, and then I zero the scale out, okay? And then you scoop out the almond butter out of there until it says -10. And then that's how you know right there you have exactly 10 grams, because there's a couple foods that you can absolutely blow your diet up with by eating too much of. That's peanut butter or almond butter and rice. Those two things, if you don't measure them, measure your rice dry, and you don't measure that stuff, you are going to blow your calories out, and it's easy. So, like it's insane how, like, so 10 grams of that almond butter, which is not a full spoonful, that's like 30 grams. Just 10 grams is 63 calories and 6 grams of fat. So if you triple that, like, you're easily taking in like 190 calories versus 63 if you don't weigh it. So you can really, and it's not just that one mistake. If you do that through the day, that's 130 grams more than you planned times, or 130 calories more times like 3 times a day. You're not eating in a deficit anymore after that. Like, so this is the kind of stuff that can break your diet. So that's why it's really important to weigh stuff. I know it's totally anal retentive. I know it's completely psycho, but trust me, like I find myself weighing the kids' food, and I'm like, what am I doing? Like, it's just natural for me now. I've been doing it for 3 years. So anyway, 387 calories, 41 grams of protein, 6 grams of fat, and 44 grams of carbs. So, and it's very slow carbs, like, because it's well, I guess the blueberries are a little bit, they're a little higher in glycemic index, but it's not going to kill you. The Greek yogurt has the most. It has 26 grams of carbs in it, but that's a very slow digesting carb. So I find that meal, so blueberries, almond butter, Greek yogurt, and that casein protein. And if you want the URL for True Nutrition, let me get that for you. Man, I cannot spell today. It's totally brutal. All right. There you go. It's got some Bing things added to the end of it. Let me unbing it. Yeah, it's all the ad tracker stuff, so that they know where you're coming from. Yeah, that's it right there. So that's Dante Trudell's, and right there you can get 20% off right there. But what I like about them is that you can order your protein how you want. You can flavor it how you want. You can add like beef collagen to it. You can all sorts of stuff. But it's called casein protein is what I get from them. I also use their cluster dextrin. I find their stuff's just cheaper, and it's tested and made in the USA kind of stuff. So it's pretty solid. But yeah, totally weigh the kids' food. It's pretty funny. Yeah. All right. Well, I think that wraps it up. Let's see. Yeah, we're at an hour, so I've yapped your ears way off. So so I'll hang it up there. But anyway, thanks for tuning in. Lots of good stuff, I think, today. I always feel better when I do these. I think it's a good social thing for me to do, because I'm not that social. But keep up the great work. I know you can do it, and I will see you in the next one. Have a great one.